can't screw up.
Bring the flutes, guru.
I gotta be careful. Last time I took this thing off and threw it, the whole world fucking broke. Very nicely and gently put it down.
Welcome to the Plumes of Hazard, everybody.
Howdy.
What up?
What up, y'all?
As per is standard with reviewers, when we bring reviewers on, they get to hang out with us the whole show instead of just for a segment. So everybody welcome Damien from A Bloody Good Vaping.
Yeah!
Hey.
What up, guys?
Safe.
Shave.
How you all doing? All right?
Good. How about yourself? Thanks for staying up really fucking late to be on.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
to listen to some fat Mexican guy play the fucking flute.
Technically, it's a recorder, but you know, close enough.
Yeah.
I thought Mexicans didn't play flutes.
Oh, Fubaca, you so funny. Why don't you just shut up for the rest of the show?
So,
Oh,
David,
wait, you're doing that anyways.
You don't have to tell me to do that, motherfucker.
just so you know, David, the chat is like lagged like 30 seconds. So right now it's 359 just saying, "Make it stop."
And he said I need to plug the flute into the 200-watt mod and blow clouds out while vaping. All right, we'll do that in a minute. Patience.
Patience, grasshoppers.
So do we just want to jump right into the news?
Well, I don't know. Do we have a chip game to cover, or we?
Have
we're
chip
not gonna
game?
do that?
I don't have any chips today.
I have chips, but they're not. They're not real chips. They're
Nobody told me to bring chips, you see. I was left out of the loop.
Man, those aren't chips.
young coconut flake things. They're not. Like I said, they're not really chips. They're just,
What is it with white people and coconut? Coconut water, coconut chips, frickin' leave the damn coconuts alone. Go get your real coconut.
Basically, they were just taking everything that like brown people and Southeast Asian people have been jamming on for years, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so great!" Like they do.
Put it in a bottle. Sell it for $15.
It's like with rock and roll, bacon, slavery.
I would humbly suggest that bacon is a universal goodness. It is a common grace given to all mankind.
Of course, I see. That's something a white person would say.
Except vegetarians don't count.
I'm going to sit here and enjoy my delicious food and.
Fuck you, Chemtrail. I did not fuck up.
Before we go too far off into
What are we doing here tonight? What the hell is going on?
Young coconut, just like the Pope likes them.
Chewbacca, you got news?
I don't have shit.
Wait, I gotta play the Now You Know.
Oh, there you go.
Whatever.
No, I wish I
I'm
didn't.
never playing it again.
Are you playing the bag now? What was that?
That was a bagpipe.
Boy, that was terrible. I love it.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, bro.
Get it?
I do get it. That was
What
a
do you
good
got?
dad joke.
We
So I
really
guess
should make the show. Sorry, we really should make the show 2 hours,
probably.
3 hours. We got
Why
plenty of content.
Why not? Most of it's bad.
All right, hurry up. This guy's got to go to sleep over there.
That's true. Okay, so this week I actually started my notes kind of early in the week, and the reason is because I saw something really funny. So V3 Tronics, the guys that make the Flip, posted a pretty humorous picture that I don't know if anybody saw that, but But I did. Let's see if we can share the. I'll share the image here. It's a little picture of their clones after. So, at least in my experience, one of the big people that started with the the clone hate were these guys, and these guys started like going after on Facebook. They were going after just Facebook people and like exposing some of their, or like prying in, lurking into their little profiles and stuff, and like calling people out that are putting group buys together. Anyway, they basically tried their own crucifixions of people that were buying these clones, which I thought was kind of funny. that they then were putting out pictures of themselves vaping on clones. I just thought
Didn't somebody else just do that recently?
They did. That's my next point. So that came up earlier in the week, and then AmeriVape, which just continues to try to
You don't like
what do we say? Dig themselves in the hole deeper. They can't quite get themselves out.
Yeah,
I think it was like people will stop watching the show.
Basically, it's like I think I said this last night. Basically, the whole thing with Todd happened, and then Chuck put out the video. It's like, okay, this thing actually does vent properly. What does AmeriVape do? They go and fuck it up even further. It's like I think it was from that short Family Guy movie where Stewie's hanging out with Jesus and he's like, oh, so how was going back in time? He's like, oh yeah, me and River Phoenix partied together, and they OD'd again.
Master, what the fuck are you doing?
What is he doing? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sitting here muted talking.
No. He's just doing this. He's like,
Yours just turns white.
The worst color, right? Anyway, so there's some humorousness going around in the whole cloning thing, and we'll get into that a little bit later because Sean wants to cover the next one. But so those two things were funny. These prominent guys that are hard against cloning when it's their thing are apparently not. They're okay with it. Other people being cloned and buying things and using them and putting it on their Instagrams, which I think is strange. To me, keep it consistent, right? If you're gonna not like clones, which is understandable if you're someone who makes something, don't post stuff with you using other people's clones. That's kind of hypocritical, right?
Didn't Twist called them out the other day? Did you see that video?
That's what that second one was linked to is Twisted's thing, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of went a bit sort of boom, didn't it?
It went a little sideways there, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching that. It's good.
You could say it was a little twisted.
Yeah.
All right. The third thing that I thought was kind of interesting is a new wire that people are starting to talk about. I got a link here to where you can get it. It's a titanium alloy resistance wire, and apparently it's got about half the resistance as Canthal. And
Half the resistance.
Now it's no Baquero wire.
It's C-plat.
I'm right.
But it looks pretty cool. I kind of want to try it actually. It's they apparently are the ones that are being sold now are these guys that do the Golden Greek. So they're selling no res pre-made lengths in various resistances that you can pick up. I don't know if they're actually going to end up releasing like a spool just to the resistance side for those of us that don't have Golden Greek things that just use regular resistance wire. But in any event, you can always use the just use the middle bit. You can just clip off the non-res parts if you want, or you can just use those too. A lot of people don't know, at least this is my experience from talking to most people, they don't know that you don't have to have non-res wires in a lot of things. You can though. That's the thing that I think people don't really realize. It's not that big of a deal. You can totally use it no matter what. Master, what are you doing?
Rewicking? Problems?
Nice. No problems at all.
Problem, actually?
Not at all. I was just
the cotton is white at least. You happy?
Quite. Does it have a little tan on it or something?
No.
No, just pure white. Well, it must
switched to Japanese cotton, man. I need a little brown in my life.
It must be good then. It must be good. And I think that's pretty much about it. So we've got some new resistance wire. We've got some sort of hypocritical original manufacturer things talking about clones, and then now Sean can talk about the other thing that I posted earlier.
Let's cut to our guest and see what he's got for news, because he knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's let him talk about news.
My news.
Yeah, what do you got? What's news?
Hey, Damien.
Well, there's obviously that thing that sort of hit Facebook like a hammer, especially in the UK today, and that's and you're talking about clones, and that's the Rose clone that
Yep.
it's sort of hit like a bombshell today. So yeah, that's, and for me as well, being friends with like on a quite personal level with Lee and
Well,
Andy,
that
it's quite.
aside, man, I'm sure you've seen the diagrams for it, right? Because we've seen the Rose diagrams. We've seen the breakdown. The tolerances on that thing are so fucking small. I'm really curious to see how this clone's going to work.
Oh.
Because I haven't seen anything with that tight of tolerances cloned successfully.
Well, the only pictures I've seen today are obviously the ones that are from Eden Mods as well, their actual pictures themselves. I haven't actually seen any sort of legit pictures of this so-called clone anyway. So,
I know that's what he's talking about. So the Eden Mods guys have shared, sort of the cutaway 3D renderings of where they're milling.
Yeah.
And it's tight. It's tight, man. I mean, like 0.2 millimeters in places tight.
That's a lot tighter than most clones get. And if you're off on some of those, it's not going to function. It's not going to function right anyway. So I'll be honest, I don't really think the Eden Mods guys have a goddamn thing to worry about, because I just don't think this thing is going to be what, people think it's going to be.
Is Infinite making it?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think
I'd be concerned if Infinite was making it.
Right.
I still wouldn't, though, man, because they haven't. I don't think even Infinite's touched anything that has this tight of tolerance yet. Like, the Rose is a whole nother beast, even apart from, like, a K-Fun. The K-Fun has more room for error than the Rose does.
Oh, by far. K-Fun's a super super device.
Yeah.
Which is where it is. That's where it shines, right? That's why it's good. Is it's a very simple device. It's easy to build on. But I don't know what the tolerances are off the top of my head. No.
They're small. I know that.
They're uber small. I know there's not much meat. There's not much meat left in a lot of the the channels and things that are cut in there with the grub screws and the airflow and all that.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a sophisticated little atty, isn't it? And for them to get it bang on, it's like you said, it's going to be interesting to see whether it's going to work for them and whether it does work as well. But then there's also is that bad, and is it going to have gone and bought the clone are just going to go, well, this is shit, I mean, it leaks, it don't work, and
that's kind of the one thing that I think people need to understand. And I mean, if you buy clones, whatever, I don't, but that's fine. But if you buy a clone and then say this is shit, so the original is shit, you can't really make that correlation. Like, you can't say the clone is shit, so the original is shit.
Well, and also on the other hand too, if you buy a clone, well, two things. If you buy a clone and it turns out to be shit, don't bitch. It's a clone.
Yeah.
But also in that that same token, if you buy a clone and it's user error, it could be a good clone, and other people could have, you bought it because you saw reviews or something like that, and that can happen with any device. That can happen with a real one or a clone one or that's just like the ZNA clone that's out, that there's pictures. It's not fake anymore. There's an actual device that looks like it. So they're not calling it a one-to-one clone. They're calling it a device that looks like the ZNA.
Right. That's another example of, okay, do you call it a clone? Do you call it a look-alike? I mean, what do you call it? Because most of the clones that are out, I mean, copy down to logos and serials and stuff like that. So
I just know, like, I'm a fan. Like, I've always been a fan of the Qi, and I don't use Mex anymore, but I've always been a fan of the Qi. When the first Qi U clone came out, it was before I owned a Qi. I bought it, I hated it, absolutely fucking hated the thing, and then I ended up getting a real Qi. To this day, still love the real Qi. And a lot of people are like, oh, the Qi is shit. Well, what Qi do you have? Oh, the clone. That's not an accurate representation of the real device.
Well, it's a shitty clone, so.
Yeah, but they're saying that the Qi as a whole is shit because the clone is shit, and that's not accurate. That's the only. Like.
That's when you stop caring about what they say, then.
Yeah, if you're gonna, I'm just saying, if you're. I mean, come on.
Another thing too is, and I don't, the way I feel about this, local B&Ms, okay. I have people, at the meets and stuff, and they're like, oh, check out my device, it's great. And whether they know it's a clone or not, I don't know if it matters. But I still think B&Ms should basically list, if they have it in the shelf in the glass or whatever, and it's a clone. It should be labeled a clone.
I agree.
Or call it whatever you want to call it, because
that's a whole separate beast, though.
Well, there were
yeah, but
I know that were putting stuff up, and I mean, you got to bear in mind that not everybody who hears about a Nemesis knows who makes the Nemesis.
right.
So, selling something like H Cigar Nemesis.
Yeah.
It's really confusing when somebody goes, "Oh my God, I can't find this anywhere," and now I found it for $40. Amazing! I'm gonna buy this. It can be really misleading, and I agree. I don't think that's necessarily appropriate.
I mean, but I also understand the other side of it. People see clone, they're not gonna want to buy it. Where they just see the name of the device.
So you lie to somebody?
And until they see the price.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Or they don't know.
Takes two
They
to lie.
might not know any better.
I mean, but yeah.
How
Well,
much?
And I've mentioned this before. There's a local chain near me that has that they carry nothing but clones, and I pull up their page before, and they've got K-Funs on there, right? 3.1s, and they've got lights, and the whole thing just says K-Fun, 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 K-Fun.
Yep.
In one little sentence buried inside their description, they say something about a K-Fun by EH Pro, right? And that's all they say. And they list it for like $75.
Which is pretty close to the price of a K-Fun Light.
Right, it's almost the price of a real K-Fun Light Plus, but the normal person that looks at that is not going to go, oh, EH Pro, that's not who makes that, it's Fomesto, right?
Right.
The normal person is just going to see K-Fun, and their buddy told them that K-Funs are good, and they're going to buy it, and so, yeah, no, I'm with you, Master. I think that should be clearly stated. If it's a clone, that's fine, if that's what you want to buy, but it should be listed as a clone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got? Anything else?
Like selling Folkleys, right, and calling them Oakleys or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example, because they're still sunglasses. They're still gonna protect your eyes from the sun for some degree, but they're not, they're not an original.
I feel like that's something people have to realize, is that as strong as the community is behind, and at least in this industry, fakes and counterfeits are going to be part of it. Like anything high end, like Oakleys, they're expensive. They're not cheap. They're going to be copied. Ray-Bans, they're expensive. They're going to be copied. Even like if you go to China, you can find knockoff BMW cars, like shit like that. Like there's always going to be that. And
we do have vendors popping up that are just like those Oakley vendors for mods, who are posting in groups like, hey, you want a mod? We'll drive to you. We'll come drop off whatever you want. We have K-Fun. We have Sentinel. We
We have K-Fun. We have K-Fun.
I'm saying, man. But on the same note, like, I do think that shops should at least list what their product is fully.
Sure.
Right.
So, Damien,
happen.
what's the V&Ms like around you, Damien? Are they primarily ego kits and clones and stuff? Or?
Mainly, you do get quite a few, especially sprouting up now, and it is a lot of clone territory as well. But yeah, the majority of the lot, especially over the past couple of years, it's all been your starter kits, your egos, clearomisers and bits like that. It's only sort of kind of been in the last 6 months where they've now started to stock your Nemesis clones and bits like that. The more popular they've got, obviously they've started now hitting the stores, and there's a lot of them sort of springing up. But they do give it all that Nemesis style, K-Fun style. They put the word style next to it, so that at least they're sort of attempting to make people aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem with brick and mortars and high-end mods has always been the same thing, though. I mean, you're in the high-end mod market. The lifespan of stuff in the high-end mod market is between 3 days to a month for most items. So a B&M can go buy a whole bunch of shit expecting to sell it in their store. This is perfectly, like, the Kraken is the perfect example of this. Everybody rushed to get a fucking Kraken. Vicious ain't Kraken at first. All these B&Ms were on order, and they were on wait lists, and the first few people got the Kraken, and within a month, nobody wanted the Kraken anymore, and all these B&Ms now got fucking 100 Krakens that they can't sell.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
the
and
Kraken was a fast one. Man, I saw a lot of people that wanted the Kraken, and then it was like, poof, disappeared.
Tough for
Next.
brick and mortars to get into the high-end mod game.
And so there's that, which is absolutely true. And then the other thing is the margins are shit, right, for a B&M.
Margins are absolute shit for most B&Ms.
Yeah.
It's traffic to your store. That's primarily what you get. And you almost have to be an online business to make it in the high-end mod game. Because if you don't have your shit online, you're not going to miss the rush. Unless you're in like a local area that has a huge scene, like probably for here over in like California or Las Vegas or something.
Yeah, like how many people are going to walk in a shop front every day and sort of pay £100 or £80, £90 for an atomizer or £120 for a mod? It's just not going to happen. You're not going to earn no money that way.
Well, is it the exact one that they want? Is it the one that they've been looking at? Is it the one that they saw online?
Right.
No, I'll just wait for the one that I want anyway. You know?
Right. Stainless versus brass, whichever your preference is, Yep.
Way too much shit.
But even Pantheon is one of my local shops, and those guys have got the Kato hammer, right? They had a half dozen of those sitting in there, and they joked the last time I was in there they just about couldn't give them away, right? I mean, they were in fact they were some of the local vape meets and stuff. They would donate those as prizes and stuff sometimes because they couldn't sell them, so they might as well give them to somebody. Which sucks because I think that's a neat mod.
Everybody fucking wanted a hammer, dude. Everybody wanted a hammer.
Sure.
It just goes to show how quick the scene moves, though, as well, doesn't it? 1 minute it's hot, and especially as well with that sort of mentality, once it's cloned as well, it does kind of lose that sort of.
Yeah, there's always that flavor of the week kind of deal. Like some of the juices, but not so much clones, but some, like Boba's was the shit for so long, and it still is. It's just not quite.
Well, Boba's was really one of the first of its kind. Right.
Yeah, it was one of the first boutique juices.
But now, you have guys like the Standard, and where he's making new companies every couple months to stay relevant for the most part.
Cosmic Fog is the shit.
Is it?
Well, one flavor in particular, milk and honey. It tastes like the milk at the bottom of the bowl of Corn Pops / Honey Nut Cheerios.
Hannah's is another good example of this, right? Hannah's were going for $500-600, and now they're not even going for retail anymore.
Right.
Like Hannah was an absolute.
Well, I think they had a lot of that to do with them themselves.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I know they were already coming down in price, but act like a dick, you'll go get the shaft from the peoples.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, they also weren't putting out. They weren't stocked. The clones happened. People want that box, That's part of the big. I mean, that's a lot of the rise of clones.
Yeah.
Anything else? What do you got new that you're playing with? Anything fun?
For me,
R Plush says.
Gonna come out that big fancy mod.
I've got the Helix here by a UK mod maker called Stig. I reviewed it today actually, which is a DNA 30 26650 mod. Sort of, if you look there, it's kind of similar to the Shield. Shield, yeah. This is pretty nice. It's pretty badass. I mean, yeah, it's a DNA 30, so that's what you get. But
is the screen down at the bottom?
The spring's at the top, in the top cap as well, and it's going to be a silver-plated copper spring.
No, the screen for the DNA 30. Is it down at the
screen's
bottom?
at the bottom. Vapor Shark.
Okay.
So yeah, that's nice. I mean, these are aircraft grade aluminium, but also sort of like he's doing them with stainless steel boots on the bottom and brass as well, and that's pretty nice.
Seeing that thing in your hand, it looks a lot smaller than I thought it would be for a 26650.
Yeah, I think so too.
It is than what I thought it was going to be anyway. It's bigger than Shield, but of course it takes a 26650. But yeah, this one's quite light because this is a little alloy one. He does one with brass bottom and all, and that's a lot heavier than this. But yeah, it's pretty tasty. So, but I mean, for nearly £300, it should be.
Wow.
That Shield, man, that's still one of those ones where if I ever did run across one, I might have to pick one up. That whole form factor, I freaking love that whole form factor.
Yeah, dude.
Everything all together.
I was talking to somebody today about the slow escalation of pricing in this market as well. how what used to be standard high end was like $225, and now we're gravitating around the $500 or $600 range for what's considered top of the line high end. And there's got to be a ceiling somewhere. That's what I want to know. I want to know where that ceiling is from a mod maker of what people are willing to pay. Because we're just in the last year we've doubled.
Mm.
And I will say, you know,
But I don't know if we've really doubled with the average high-end device, right? There's definitely a few super expensive ones out there, no doubt. But
yeah. I should say the super hard to obtain, like the unobtainium high-end mods have about doubled. So, you know, that used to be the Nemesis and the Chi and the Velas, and now it's the Waparis and the Geppettos and stuff like what this Stake Helix is going to be, I'm sure.
Mm. You also get it with Hellfire as well, didn't you? Sort of like Hellfire's mods.
But Hellfire's not expensive retail, right? He's pretty cheap retail.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I thought he was relatively affordable retail.
the Velas were like that too, though, right?
Relative.
V2, I think it's near £400 for the V2.
Oh, is it really?
Wow.
Okay.
Which is like a micro mega on the top, and then just your sort of tube, be it 18350 or 18500 tube as a hybrid. Yeah, that's near up 400 quid and all.
Okay, yeah, I'm wrong. I'm probably just going off the Jenny. Like comparison, the Jenny I thought was like 150.
Yeah, well, it does a few. You've got sort of, I think his mini mega is about 130 quid, but then his micro mega is up to 160. But then he's got a new one.
He does get pretty expensive then, huh?
Yeah, does. Yeah.
I really want to know where the ceiling is. We've got to hit a ceiling eventually.
Mm.
I think people will pay whatever they're gonna pay, dude.
Well, that's the thing, man. When people are, you know, spending $2,000 to buy some of these devices secondhand.
I think whatever they set the price for a high-end mod, I think people will pay it. I think it's that whole mentality, you know, like Walmart does, where they lower the prices in low-income areas and raise the prices in, you know, Royal Ascot Lane. So,
I knew that was coming.
And it's you know, it's proven. So I think people won't buy a high-end mod if it's not priced as a high-end mod. I can guarantee you.
You think it'll keep going up?
Huh?
You think it'll keep escalating? Like there will be a new definition?
You mean price?
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it's going to get to a point where quality is definitely going to, and I'm not talking about quality where the guy sits there and says, I ran this lathe for 24 hours making one. No, people don't give a shit about that. People are going to want that wattage, and people are going to want that, you know, features. You know, pretty screens. You know, what can the mod do? You know, I'm seeing a lot of shifting from things that you kind of wanted in a mod before to where people are like, you know, I wanted to blow my fucking head off. Let's go, do it. You know, in addition to being a nice looking mod. You know, let's do something like this, but stay looking classy. And then, you know, they price it at a you know, high price point.
At a premium. Yeah,
I
sure.
think that's probably a lot of the boom in DNA stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the boom in DNA stuff is really because you can get that variable prettiness. You slap that DNA in a pretty enclosure, and you can pretty much ask whatever the fuck you want for it.
Mm-hmm.
But to our conversation with Damon earlier, you know, that's still, you know, when you put a DNA in it, it's gonna hit like a DNA, right?
Yeah.
Still
You're
gonna
paying
work
for art, right? So that, and what's the problem with that, right? You're paying for art, right?
Right.
And everybody has a different price for art, right? Like
Right.
I haven't even looked for a Geppetto or a Wapari yet because I won't pay $600 retail for a DNA mod. That's just
Stop saying Wapari. I hate that name.
How do they come up with this shit? Geppetto and Wapari and Pinocchio, and go fuck yourself, guys. Come up with something cool like Zorro or something. You know, don't do
Well,
that.
yeah, that's what you know. I hear that's a really good way to get sued.
I mean, I tried to come up with the cool name, so I guess I can see why they come up with the stupid Geppettos and Pinocchios.
Because they don't get
and shit.
sued. Like
I want a mod that's called
Just-
a Geppetto file. Think about that.
They
I feel like I've said that on a previous show or another hangout.
Yo,
Yo, man,
is he gonna have a mustache and Coke glasses and a van? It goes with it.
So, Damien, to catch you up, Mast here used to make a mod called the Zorro that now is called the Mini because he got sued for using the word Zorro.
Well, I didn't get sued. I got cease and desisted, and I follow the law.
It's
So.
still better than deportation.
Shit, INS showed up. They're like, you better change that shit, or you're gonna be wearing the Zorro mask back to your country. I was like, all right, no worries. No, yeah, but I always wonder that. I guess maybe we can tuck the chuff and we can have them make an enclosure, like an aluminum enclosure with a couple dice in there. And they just have letters, and you just throw it, and whatever the letters land on, that's the new name for your mod.
Yeah.
There you go. You never know what's going to come up. Maybe 2 or 3 dice.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
I think that's a good idea.
So, off that topic, in other news, I got a bottle of Front Porch from Grizzly Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I fucked myself over by talking to Lance about this flavor first, by talking to you about it, because I'm talking to Lance about it, and Lance goes, man, on that exhale, there's this, like, perfect taste of, like, fresh-cut grass. All I fucking taste is fresh-cut grass now.
So does Mast.
That's all.
That's a good one.
That's all I taste.
You deserve a
Allahu Akbar.
good job.
Oh, that's low.
Other thing news, I got this in.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any way for other people to get them yet, but hopefully we'll have a new.
We're working on it. That dude still hasn't mailed me back, man. I don't know what's
It's gonna get cloned so fast.
We were just talking about the high-end community, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know how you can get this one."
If I could find a fucking T-shirt guy, I'd really like to find a T-shirt guy.
Hey,
Yeah,
if
we
there's
need
anybody
a
watching
good
this-
T-shirt guy.
If there's anybody watching this that makes T-shirts, will you freaking hit us up, because we've looked everywhere.
Yes.
Not Adam C.
You can host it. You can make the fucking profit. We don't even want the goddamn money. We just want you to print our goddamn T-shirts so people can and ship them to people.
We just want to push that Voop life.
Exactly. That's it. That's all.
Life.
Wait, no, there's one more requirement. Freaking have tall T-shirts.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The
That
fuck
would
is
be
this,
nice.
2002?
What?
What?
No, I was thinking of those tall tees that look like muumuus that were really like in
Yeah,
fashion.
no, not those. Just ones that are made for tall torso to people, because
Yeah.
it's hard to find shirts that fit right. Real quick, Damien, we had a request in the chat for you to say the word battery.
Battery. Assault battery.
It's like that Russell Peters skit. Bang.
So
Yeah.
Matt, outside of Tech Time, do you have anything for today?
Yeah, I got some news. I wanted to. I was able to get a hold of a new Addy. Sean, I didn't know you were going to be done already with the news, so give me a second. I wanted to pull up the camera.
Well, while you're doing that,
yeah.
we'll cut to the first part of Damien. For anybody who doesn't know, who the fuck are you?
I'm just some Cockney twat reviewer guy, man.
Can you say? And he's called the Stig.
Yeah. No, that's a mod maker, the Stig. No, I'm just I review stuff pretty much. I've been doing it for about a year now. Started out with a partner, and swiftly moved on, and I now review on me Jack Jones.
But yeah, you still have to say, and he's called the Stig.
And I'm right, and he's called the Stig.
He's cold.
Are you a Top Gear fan by any chance?
Am I?
Yeah.
No, man. I had my license taken away a couple of years ago. I'm not into driving anymore. It's too dangerous.
That's where that's from.
Yeah.
Um,
I got 5 kids, man. My wife does all the driving.
Yeah. Got yourself a minivan or something, and just go.
God, yeah, we have.
So what's the name of your review channel?
It's a bloody good vaping.
It's right there on his little.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if blind people are listening?
It's a bloody good vaping on YouTube. Yeah. I was formerly of Safer Vapors. If you guys knew what that was.
Linked on our channel. You can go look at the little sidebar on our main page, and you'll see a bloody good vaping.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I
Bloody
did that
good.
one yesterday. I was prepared.
Safe.
All right, I got this
that
thing
is,
up
that is
and
one
going
thing
now.
we don't have a good catchphrase. We've got a few catchphrases, but not like a singular
Dude,
defining one.
crucifixions is our catchphrase.
Or deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it and crucifixions are our catchphrases. Come on. Those are great.
I
All right, I'm ready for this.
We have multiple.
All right,
What
Master's
is
up.
that?
Okay, so I got from a local guy here at Veritube on an order that he placed. Sigeli sent him this new atomizer, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to check it out. So
It looks like the
Um,
castle.
Kind of.
yes, so it's called the Taiji, Taiji atomizer, and let me leave this in frame and put this in chat so you guys can see, and it's from Sigeli, and if somebody can drop it on there.
I got it.
At first, I was like, okay, you got those holes there, and you got, and it looks like a little sign, not bad, and yeah, the top looks like a castle, but upon examining the insides, nice O-rings. So you can see the inside there, and this is the best part. They're so smooth. It's tight, but look at that. 3 O-rings, and look at that deck.
Damn.
The D. All right. Look how deep that is in there. All right. I had to measure it.
Holy crap, dude.
6.30 millimeters of wall. Okay. Let me get it over here. So
At some point, that's become so deeper, it's probably not going to wick that great.
well, it's not too bad because as you can see where the air holes are placed, they give you a good amount of space. Obviously, cloud chasers will want to cut these off, and you'll want to, so you could center your. But it is really, and it's got really good build to it. It's pretty heavy. A nice big insulator down at the bottom, copper pin.
Hold that back up. I really want to. It looked like the air hole post piece that's sticking up there wasn't even on both sides.
No, it's not. I just took it apart.
No. It
Put
looked
back
like
together.
that one piece that's sticking up. It looked like the
tab.
one side was taller than the other side of the tab.
Okay, hang on. What? Like this?
The other side, but yes.
The other side.
That looks about right. It's a perspective thing,
it's
probably.
just the angle.
I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the angle. I mean, if you hold it this way, you could see there. You're talking about the tabs, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So copper pin. Obviously not on the top. And I had it wicked earlier during the day. I just took everything out so you guys could see into the deck and everything. And top post comes off too down the bottom. It doesn't spin. I've cranked on it. These are built into the body. Not bad. Very, very nice vape. Stock air holes. Let's measure those guys out. But really good airflow. I was surprised. So we're looking at 2 millimeter air holes. So it's got 4 2 millimeter air holes. Okay, all the way around.
Doesn't look like a terribly small chamber, but it doesn't look that bad.
No, and you got your
Style top
dome cap. Yeah. And one of the things that was really cool was, this thing fits nicely together. This is the best part right here.
Oh, your Chuffy cap.
Oh, yeah, right there. The Chuffy cap
What is
fits
the ETA
perfectly on it. Say what?
What's the ETA on those? I'm curious.
The Chuffy caps?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to have them on and ask them. But yeah, I mean, and it is a good fit. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, yep. So I was rocking that all day today. But really good build, good weight. I mean, that's something too that I look into an Addy. I mean, I know a lot of people will complain about the weight of it and stuff like that. It comes in 22, 28.5, and 30 millimeter. So you could pick and choose your size. 30 millimeters is gigantic. So you can just imagine how big that well is going to be. So but there you have it. From Sigeli, it was.
How's it look on that Dogray?
Well, this is only the 22.
Oh, that's the 22.
So
okay, good.
yeah, this is the 22. So it's tiny. I mean, here we'll have it we'll have it side by side, you know, next to the 26650 Tobe. So, but yeah, in news, I like it. It's a he's going to be getting some in this week, and I thought for stock air holes, you know, and the nice thing is where the air holes end up. Let me get this thing apart again. Where the air holes end up, right, you know, right where your coils are. The one nice thing about it is since it's so deep, angsty, like you were saying, you know, the juice can be at the bottom. I don't think there's going to be wicking issues, especially with people going to rayon now, which wicks a lot faster. But I didn't have, I wicked it with cotton. I didn't have any issues. The center post center post hole is pretty big. I don't know.
It looks
if I can
bigger
get
than
in
the
there
negative. Huh? The
It
positive
does,
looks
yeah, it
bigger
is.
than
And let me see if I can get in there and measure that. I believe it's a 2 or 2.5. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get in there. I can probably take the post out and check it. But other than that, yeah, I like it. It's pretty good. So that's all I have for news.
It's cool to see Sigela coming out with, you know, their own thing, right?
Yeah, it is, and not a clone of anything else that I know of. I haven't seen. I'm not really paying attention to chat, so I don't know if you know, if there's something else in the market out there like this. You know, so.
So would you review that, Damien?
Sorry, mate.
Would you review that?
How much does it cost?
Oh, that's the best thing. I think it's going to be under $30.
Nah.
So.
If it's original or not a clone of anything or not a counterfeit, then yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it, really.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen anything. You know, yeah, it's a 2 millimeter. It's a 2 millimeter hole for that center pin.
They have seen nothing quite like that. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, borrowed some design points from a few other addies, but not too bad.
Yeah, but everything borrows design points from.
Right.
What doesn't really now?
Like everything in their mother's borrowing from the Tobe now in terms of new addies that are coming out.
Mm-hmm. That's because that friggin' top cap is brilliant, dude.
Yeah.
The top cap is so good.
The three piece top cap is the way to go with trippers now.
Yep. There you go.
Except for my Odin, still rocking that one piece.
That's true. The Odin's been pretty well reviewed.
I'm waiting for the Odin V2 though that has the.
If I can get just the top cap for the V2, I'd be so down for that.
Yeah.
Man, these will be. I saw somebody asking. These will be on sale on Veritube's website, veritube.com, soon. I believe this week.
Sweet. Hey, so we haven't asked Damien what he's actually using tonight, hardware-wise.
Well, I've got a bit of a rotation going on because of all my different juices. But on this one, I've got a Hellfire UFO V2 dripper on an ELA, and that's got me Spotty Dick and Custard in it from Mrs. Lords & Co. in the UK. I'm also vaping here with some custard creams, Chiyu Megan with a JFK on the top, which is to us. And I've got my Lime Sparkle in my RSM Hybrid. So sort of got those three on a rotation at the moment.
Nice.
So, cool talking point with that, man. Like, juice is kind of a big thing here. Like, we got juice vendors popping up every day. You know, probably like at least one new juice vendor a week, probably a lot more. But I hear a lot of people that I talk to in the UK don't seem to have quite as many options for good juice, and I do know it's a lot more expensive for you over there, isn't it? Talk about, like, juice struggles. I'm really curious about any juice struggles in the UK.
Well, it depends. I mean, we're very set in our ways as well over in the UK, and a lot of people over here as well. If they find something they like, they vape the fucking shit out of it until basically they've got vapor's tongue or they can't taste it anymore, and then they move on. But we've got some pretty good vendors in here that do quite a large selection of juices. Like a good friend of mine, Vaping King.
Well, you have to come on the show, man. You got to help me convince him. I want to have a UK vendor on.
Yeah, I mean, Billy probably would. He's got sort of like 45 different types of juices in his range, and each one are pretty bang on, and everybody raves about them, and I use them quite a lot. And then Mrs. Lord's as well. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Mrs. Lord's Juice & Co.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they do a great range as well, and you know
We have the shittier version over here, Mrs. T's.
Oh!
Wait, you can actually get that?
No, that's the problem. Is I went to go order some Mrs. Lords a while back, and they don't ship overseas.
No, I was talking about Mrs. T's. I didn't know she was shipping ever. I thought she was just taking money and shipping no product.
Yep, you think you're getting it, but you ain't getting shit.
Oh, Lisa said she's trying to get Billy to come on too.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm sure I could wrangle him into getting on somehow with you guys when you've got a slot.
Yeah. For somebody like that.
It'd be nice to have a UK juice maker, right? Because that's like the biggest question. Whenever we have a juice maker on, do they ship to the UK?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them don't. So, I mean, it'd be nice to get some exposure for a UK vendor. And I've looked at Billy's prices. I've thought about ordering some of his stuff myself. It's not expensive, and his overseas shipping is not expensive.
Mm. Yeah.
Everybody in your Hangouts keeps fucking raving about this grog.
Grog's lovely. Yeah, it's sort of like an apple root beer. It's really quite nice.
That just breaks my brain. I saw you review something, or you mentioned one of your reviews. I was like, apple root beer.
Yeah, man, it's surprisingly nice. I'm not keen on sort of apple e-juice either. I've never really have been, and I can vape that really nice. I mean, in a Jenny, it's fucking lovely, to be honest. I spend a lot of my time vaping a really horrible, nasty juice at the moment for my waffles. So you know, that's kind of my thing at the moment. If it's I'm trying to make myself vomit on camera.
The jalapeno mustard almost did it, man.
It was close, man.
We got a guy over here who does yihi tuna and cabbage.
Oh, I've got some crab
to have it sent over to you.
Please, I've got some crab slicks this way, and apparently that's going to be pretty vile. So we shall.
Vendor over here's name's Avail. I'll see if I can get you some yihi tuna and cabbage.
Please, that sounds absolutely fucking disgusting. I want some.
Oh yeah, so they do this at conventions. They carry these around at conventions, and if you don't puke, you win a prize. Like
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Somebody said you should talk about spotted dick juice.
Spotted dick, yeah. You know, I'll have a bit of spotted dick in my mouth, mate. It's the future.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite lines of you.
Yeah,
who doesn't like
it's
it?
the future, isn't it? You know, who doesn't like a good sponge with some raisins in it, covered in custard? In the UK,
That
mate, we
just
love
sounds- Wow.
Oh, white people.
I don't know if that works in current context. He's not really that white.
Yeah, true. You was asking me where my family were from. You didn't believe it.
Yeah, he's not that white, so I don't think white people works with him.
That's because I've got 5 kids, man. I don't have time to wash.
Yeah.
Is that you don't have time to wash your penis or what?
No,
That's
just
white
everything.
All the rounds with you,
I was
right?
like, is that why you keep having kids?
He only has time to have his shit, and that's about it. So.
What's making the rounds with you, man, right now is being elitist.
Yeah.
The song that you did that's just fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I would like to say that we tried to get him to do a song for us tonight, and I'm gonna let him tell you why, so you can be mad at him.
Well, over here it's 10 to 3 a.m. in the morning, and I don't really want to wake because once they sort of breathe and.
Hold on, let's tell the NSA, yo, quit listening to the lines for a fucking minute so we can listen to the guy talk.
See, I thought the UK was supposed to have like good internet too.
Oh, we've got shit in. I've got shit internet here, man. It's
Yeah, we can tell.
So I think much like Safer Vapors, as punishment for not doing a song for us tonight, you should do a Plumes of Hazard song for us.
Oh yeah, so we should catch the people up. So if you're not a member of their group on Facebook, if you break one of the very few rules on there, you have to, instead of like being punished, your punishment is you have to do an apology to the whole group by song. You record yourself singing an apology or song, which I think is a fantastically friendly sort of thing to do.
But I think that we can apply this here since Mast brought him to tears with his flute playing. I think Damien should do a song about the Plumes of Hazard for us.
Yeah, I mean, if you played a little longer, my panties may have been on my webcam.
Oh yeah.
And by panties, I mean
I'll
my.
badger you about that one, man.
I'll see if I can knock one up for you, mate. No pun intended.
We'll play it as our intro, like every week.
But that whole song, the elitist song, came about.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's that whole big elitist pro-clone sort of debate that is just endless and tiring and goes on and on and on and on. And there's never going to be a winner to it or a loser to it. It's just constant. And it was going on and on and on one week on my Facebook group. So I just sort of just wrote that song to try and ease the tension, and I think it worked.
It's fucking hilarious.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Now,
It eased the tension for a
I
day.
hear it's the pinned post on a few other groups too. Like some people didn't quite get the joke.
Well, yeah, it got pinned on Hemo as well, which was pretty amazing. I was quite shocked about that, and I've seen it on quite a lot of other groups as well, and it was sort of like, wow, that's mad, really. You know what I mean? With everything
It's funny because you're this big popular, like third most popular in the UK reviewer, and when I said you were coming on tonight, everybody's like, oh, that's that guy who does the song.
yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to get remembered for, the song. So it's cool. It was a good laugh doing it, and it did have the desired effect. You know, you've got both sides enjoying it and believing that I'm taking the piss out of either side. So nobody's actually sure who I'm taking the piss out of in that video and in that song. So which is good.
Yeah.
The desired effect.
Say what?
Master's vaping on something. What's he vaping on?
Nothing.
Vaping on the cloud machine.
It's that new ego twist.
Oh, nice. That's
The black one?
nice.
It's they're not round anymore. They're square.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Twist the whole bottom.
I see Rion put the link up there.
So you said earlier you were with Safer Vapors. Now you're your own thing. What can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, no, Tom and I did Safer Vapors for quite a while, and just different directions, man. You know, it is. You know, Tom's very into sort of like just reviewing anything. He likes his clones and he likes his bits and pieces like that. And I was just sort of more getting into high-end gear and sort of, I like the hunt. You know, if somebody tells me I can't have something, I think the spoilt brat inside of me goes, what do you mean I can't have it? And I'll seek and try and hunt it. I do love the hunt. And so we just sort of like just went, you know, you want to do your thing, I want to do my thing. Let's just do that, you know. And that's basically what happens. You know, he's got his group and his channel, and I've got mine. And you know, I'm quite comfortable doing it. You know, we don't have to wait to meet up, and you know, and we can just get on.
A lot more done too, right? You can probably pump out a lot more videos.
Yeah, it takes a lot more pressure off it when you sort of review on your own, you know, because if you're in a sort of a partnership or whatever, you've got to make time to sort of meet up and things like that.
Yeah, no, you're doing it by yourself.
Somebody has to do it.
I clicked on you for that, so that hold on. We gotta pause here.
Play it, man. Play it right from the heart.
It like did some micro arcing and oscillating, and it went back.
Is that a competition flute?
Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. Oh man!
Actually, Mass, that flute is not bent properly. That's why you talk.
It don't make no noise when the vapor's coming out.
Too heavy. Too heavy.
Oh man!
As a father, I kind of feel you, man.
So going in the next comedy reel.
Yeah, definitely. So as a father, I know what you're saying, because like when you got a spare half hour, right, and you can run upstairs and do a little editing or do something that you want to do, right? You got to kind of take it, right? It's difficult to plan around having kids.
Oh God, yes. Your life's over, isn't it? You know, very as soon as you have them. Oh, you know, but you wouldn't have it any other way. But it's not about you. You can't have that sort of freedom like
It
you once
changes
had.
things. That's all. It just changes things.
That,
It's cool.
that distant memory of freedom that you once had.
It's true.
So as kind of a high-end guy now, out of everything that you've had recently, what's your favorite stuff?
Oh, God, it's been so much. You know, still my favorite, probably one of my favorite Genesis atomizers is still got to be the Rocket by Rocket Science Mods, which is
man. Doodle
UK, you know.
My favorite Jenny.
Absolutely love that Jenny. And as far as mods go, I don't know, because there's so much nice stuff. There's so much good stuff, good quality stuff as well. It's hard to actually pinpoint what's best and what's not. You know
This
what I
is
mean?
how you say stuff and ensure that you'll still be sent more shit for review.
Yes, diplomacy.
That was a joke, by the way. So that is a valid question, right? So, do you get a lot of stuff sent to you, or do you buy most of your stuff and then review
I
it?
buy most of my stuff, in all honesty. Yeah, I get a few bits and pieces sent on. Sometimes I borrow bits and send them back because obviously, you know. But no, the majority of it, I buy it. I go on the hunt and I buy it, and then I get to choose what I want to review as well. You know, I don't have to have somebody going to me, when's the review coming, bugging the life out of me. I can just do it in my
Well, plus it lets you be more even-handed, right? If you paid your own money for it, you can say what you feel like about it, right? And not run into the problem that Sean just mentioned, which is, you know, somebody sent you a $500 mod to review and you hate it because it's had some problems or whatever, and you end up pissing off the maker and you don't, you know, ruin that relationship or whatever, right?
You get threatened to be sued or something.
I was going to say somebody threatens to sue.
That's where I was driving at.
Mod vents properly. We're going to sue you. But okay.
Yeah, and I can also sort of review the stuff that I like, you know, and want to review, look at, you know, which is great, because then you can sort of control how your channel is as well, and set the sort of style that you want your channel to be. You know, there's so many different reviewers doing different things and having a wide array of stuff. I can sort of choose how I want my channel to go and what I want to review, you know.
I feel like it puts you in a really interesting place too, and when we had Phil and Nick on, you know, it's very hard for them to stay with the times because they have such a backlog of stuff. They might be reviewing something that was brand new 6 months ago that they just got to. Where buying stuff, you can pick and choose, and you can get the newest. If you get a hold of the newest thing, you can be the first guy to have that review up. You're probably a little bit more current than some of the other reviewers.
That's right, you can, you know, and you're going to get a lot more hits that way, and people are going to be, you know, subscribing a bit more and stuff, and plus the fact I get to play with the toys nice and early, which is the main thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, it works for me that way, you know, and I don't have to answer to anybody or anything like that, and you know, not be under any pressure by anybody because they've sent me something and I must review it. You know, that week.
And you get out of the volume problem too, right? Like Basardo and Nick Grimgreen and all those guys have got so much junk that they've got in the queue. By the time they get to it, right, it's old as hell. And like you were saying earlier, right, everything moves so fast in this market, in this culture, then you got to kind of stay on top of it.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people want to see the new things. You know, that's what it is. They want to stay current as well and want to see all the new stuff and decide whether they want to spend money on it or not.
Yeah.
And when you have everything, that's almost impossible to get to the newest stuff. You're going to end up missing half the stuff that was given to you.
Right.
That's right.
So we have a question from I'm Me, and I don't understand the question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is there any word about VTTV coming back in the fall?
I wouldn't know, man. I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know what VTTV is, so.
I think it's sort of like a UK sort of, kind of similar to what you guys do.
Okay.
But done in the UK, it's sort of like a little TV show they put together, like Dave Dawn and that, and they talk about the same sort of stuff you do, and you know, news and discussions, and just a group of guys talking about vaping. Man.
Oh, okay, cool. I haven't seen that.
Do we want to cut to set up for tech time, and then we can field some.
I have a question for Damien. What is the single worst piece of high-end equipment that you've reviewed / played with?
Oh, Jesus.
There's a lot of bad high-end gear out there, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar. with a few pieces. But
Oh,
I want to know
right.
since that's his area of specialty. I'm curious what high-end bits can suck a bag of dicks.
Crucifixions from the UK.
I think possibly for me it was the Mirror by Kato. I mean, I thought that was kind of a bit of shit, really, that atomizer, and that's probably why it disappeared to obscurity and all.
It sure did, really quick, didn't it?
Yeah,
What about mechs?
So what about
Mech?
Yeah.
That's a hard one. You have to leave me to think about that one, man.
We'll come back to that one.
Is the JMods Victoria? Does that count as a high-end mod?
Possibly, I haven't reviewed that. So
basically, it's probably one of the most beautifully machined mech mods I've ever handled, but it doesn't connect for shit.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a problem.
It's got a switch assembly like the Magneto. Very beautiful piece. Let me find a picture of it, but it fucking sucks. It's so tragic. Because the guy who made it works in a shop that does aircraft parts. Like he's using that kind of machinery to make it. But it's
I feel like there's a legitimate amount of stuff like that, to be completely honest, from what I've seen. And part of the reason why I'm not as involved in the high-end market now as I used to be is because that shit's really hit or miss. Like, for the prices that you're paying, that shit's really, really hit or miss. Because people pick something up, they'll make a tube and it looks pretty, but it won't. It functions like shit. And it seems like more often than not, like there's a couple that stayers. Like I like the glass a lot, but I mean the glass button's just like a PAPS X, and the PAPS X is a lot fucking cheaper. But what's that?
PAPS X is a cracking mod and all.
Oh, I think the PAPS X is probably one of the best bang for your buck in the high-end mech mod market.
Yeah,
I think you can do much better than the PAPS X. Not for the money, anyway.
Mm.
But, I mean, everything's a variation of something else, and a lot of it just isn't that good compared to, you know, the next thing or the thing after. We were just talking about it, you know, when you're talking about voltage drops in essence of 0.02 variation between the mod, what's the point? Other than this looks pretty.
It's 0.8 on the Victoria.
Oh, no shit.
0.8?
Yeah. 0.8.
Damn.
I'm just saying a lot of them have, a lot of the higher end stuff has variations between, like, you know, within a 0.1. So there's not a whole lot of difference in functionality. It's all in look. Buttons for the most part are hit or miss. I'm growing on like the SAT22 or the SAT style buttons, the Satburn style switches. That bottom button.
The Panzer. That's not used to date.
But I think if I was going to own another mech mod, it'd be a PAPS X.
Yeah, the 1.5 is. I mean, even the first one. I know it had the telescopic, and people are a bit lazy, and they were like, "Oh, it's a bit fiddly and all that." And the 1.5 just had that G pin in it. But yeah, it's a stunning mod, and I've actually got two of them. I've got the original X, the first one, the 1.5, and I think there'll be ones that stay with me for the time, really, because they're just so versatile. They're cracking looking. Switches.
Yeah.
Stunning.
That switch is one of the better switch designs that I've seen. It works. It functions phenomenally.
Hate to use the cliche, but yeah, smooth as butter. So it's really nice.
Indeed, we got a.
I know we're
picture
for TechTime.
That picture that Ahmed
almost done. Just a minute.
That Victoria that Ahmed put up is a nice looking mod, man. I haven't seen that before.
That's the bamboo one. There's the Victoria, which is like a clean tube. That's the bamboo one, dude. The machining is like top 3, like PAPS level style machining, but it fucking sucks performance wise, and I hate it when there's like that I guess that disconnect in priorities. Like I'm surprised that it even got released because of how poorly it performs.
So while he's setting up, here's another interesting question for you. As kind of a high-end reviewer, where do you see the market going? Because like we're a bunch of modder lovers, so you know we see it coming into regulated high watt and high volt chips.
Did he just say mutter lovers?
Modder. Close enough. Close enough. But,
I mean,
so
it's the scene is growing exponentially, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's not slowing down. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think the same is going to do with all the products as well. It's just gonna keep growing, you know. And like you said, like we spoke about with the DNAs, you know what I mean? We have a chip, don't we? We have the DNA chip. Now it's just putting them in fancy encasings or in fancy fancy tubes or fancy wood.
but now we have the SX chip, which goes up to, what's it going up to, Mast? 80, 60?
It's going 60. You know, it depends. Whatever they decide to, you know, depending on what kind of rice they ate that day, that's where they pick. You know how high the voltage is going. But no, they don't. You know, they said 80 at first, and then they said, oh shit, you know, 80 is going to be a little too much for. And I agree with them because we said. You sure you want to do 80? What about people who have, you know, a single battery that's under 30 amp battery? You know, let's go do something a little lower. And I think 60 is good. Going 50 to 60, you know, to ease it in there, and then, you know, jack it up to 80 if you want, as long as everything's good. So one of those.
That being said, you know, now, so we have the DNA, but now we have the SX, which is going to go to 60 watts. We have stuff like OKRs, which have been doing 50, 72, Raptors doing 120, and we're moving up in that market too. I wonder how that's going to play, because eventually that's going to make its way over to the high-end side. I know y'all are a bunch of 350 lovers, but still.
You know, still stealth is key with some of us.
As small as humanly possible, vaping above 1 ohm.
Yeah, that's right. You know, but yeah, I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Any trends? Do you think anything in particular is going to get bigger?
Well, like you said as well, the regulated sector and all that, you know, and different chips. I mean, a lot of people are getting heavily into that stuff. You know what I mean, especially with dripping and things like that. You know, and you got your cloud chasers, haven't you? That's not going to stop. That's just going to get bigger, and your competition mods.
Yeah, I never expected 18350s to kind of have. They've kind of had a boom, and I never expected 18350s to have a boom in the high-end market. I figured everybody'd be moving to 18650s.
Yeah, but they're.
It's very strange as well, because when I first got into vaping, you know, me personally, it was all about the bigger mods. You know what I mean? We all basically had a VAMO, or I mean, majority of us did. You know, an 18650 and all that, and the SVD, and everything was big. And then all of a sudden, it becomes everything wants to be smaller. You know, and you get your micro sticks, and you get your little bits and pieces like that. So it's up and down, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's up.
And that's something I think is really cool. That's one of the reasons why I love this guy. The 490 size for me is just a really nice middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Between the portability factor and power, and you know the amplitude that those batteries can handle, right? They're still good, like the AWs. They're still a pretty solid battery in that form factor. You can still build a little sub ohm and get a great vape out of it. You know.
Yeah.
Without lasting power, though, that's my problem with a 490 is that battery's not lasting me long enough to matter.
But now you've got 26 650s, haven't you, coming out to sort of like being the rage at the moment, and you know these great big fucking monsters right here, you know.
I think we're going to see a lot more side by sides with regulated chips where the Addy is in line, much like the Stig Helix. I think we're going to see a lot more like that, where you can make it space efficient. Not too tall, not overwhelmingly wide, and still hold like an 18650 for battery power.
Yeah, I mean, the Helix comes with an adapter, so you can have an 18650 in it, as well as taking that out and having a 26650 as well. So you have those two options, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna let the questions for you roll in while we cut to what probably half of our people tuned in for is seeing this 300 watt mod in action.
All right, so. Let's see, where do we start?
I love that image, dude. I love the image.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, let's get some shit out of the way. All right. Look, the shit that goes on here. Let's be realistic. I'm gonna be showing you, you know, and I have shown you how to build mods, how to replace and fix things and stuff like that. And I had a little bit of kickback from a few people, you know, and well deserved, about hey, are you sure you want to be showing people how to build the 300 watt mod? And after thinking about it for about 2 seconds, is fuck yeah, why not? Okay, but with saying that, because I'm a firm believer of, let's get people, let's get hands on. Okay, yeah, it's great. You can buy your 50 watt mod, 100 watt mod, that's coming out, from different companies and stuff like that. But let's try to drive some innovation. Not that it's practical or not, but I like when people come and say, hey, can I get a parts list for your Nintendo crossover mod that you did, from Joe Lid, or this mod or that mod, and I am all about sharing. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh no, I make this mod, so I can't tell you how I built it. No, I'm not about that at all. I like to be able to push that out to the community. So let's get that out of the way. We have the sign up here on the screen saying, build at your own risk. I don't want to, scare anyone, but as the wattage starts going up in a lot of these devices, you are dealing with some serious power. Some of the wiring, as an example, some of the wiring goes from, a wire this big, to a wire this big. Okay. So just be careful. I'm not going to claim that everything I'm telling you in these tech times is 100% perfect, tested. It's been a seal of approval by UL Labs or any of that by any means. So do this at your own risk. Always keep your battery safety and build safety in mind with tools, and just know your limits. Okay. We were in a hangout a few weeks back, and me and one of the users, rplush, who's in chat, we were I was talking about the Beast Box mod. It's a box mod that's made by a company, and it reaches 200 watts, and it uses dual 18650s. Well, I found out the the chip that they were using, and told some people, hey, if you don't want to pay the price that they're charging for, you can go ahead and build one yourself. Here's the box that they're using. Here's the chip that they're using, and you make your contacts, and there you go. Well, unfortunately, some people out in the community don't like that. I give two flying fucks, because guess what? If you're using off-the-shelf parts and you're not making something yourself, what is the big deal about someone else making it, okay, for their personal use or for them to resell and whatever, okay? Have at it. I like people who are taking things in their own hands, and if they want to try to go through it and pay the money, even though it's probably going to cost more than what you can buy it for your time and everything like that, why not? So while looking at those boards, those were somewhere around 40 amp boards. We came across a few DC to DC converter, and that's what these are. That's what the OKR is. The Naos Raptor, any of the G chips and stuff like that. And we came across a board by, and this is. This is something that I had seen one other person do a few months back in one of the forums, but there was not much information about it. No schematics, no nothing. And it's a Delphi board. It's a Delta board. And we decided, man, that looks pretty interesting. What's the amperage output limit on that? 60 amps. Okay. So theoretically, you could build a 300 watt box mod. All right, next problem. How do you power this thing? Okay, because I'm all into the pass-throughs. I think pass-throughs are great. That's my I'm building the Mass Mods Mini. You have a device this side sitting on your desk, and the power supply is a good size. Probably the size of 1.5 Dukes. And I said, man, that'd be awesome. Let's get a power supply that'll power this thing. And okay, well, here's the size of the power. Well, I mean, I don't even think it's going to fit on camera. I mean, here's the size of the power supply that you'd have to use for something this big.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we said no, that ain't gonna happen. So let's look for battery. So I started basically I had the dimensions and had the dimensions of the board, had the dimensions that I thought the battery had to be. And I said, holy crap, this board is huge. We're gonna need a box. We'll need the BBBBBK. Okay, so just to start off, what we're going to do today, wait for this thing to focus. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over all the parts, all the things that you need, and we're going to take 2 to 3 shows and we're going to build it. Okay, live on the air. So that way, you get a week's worth of time to get some of your parts. You can order them tonight, tomorrow, whatever. I will warn you, the boards are more expensive than the typical OKR, OKL. They're upwards of $30 something, and so just so everybody knows. So I looked in the stash of Hammond boxes that I had here at the Mass Blast store, and I said, okay, the BBBBK box is going to be the one that we're going to use. Okay, and I didn't think that the whole thing would be full. Fucking camera. The box is so big that it doesn't fit in the camera. It's taking this thing out of focus.
Don't you remember how I get it to refocus?
Yeah, and so here, let's take a measurement of this Gigantor here. Wide across, you got 94 millimeter by. It's gonna be off the screen here. You're looking at 120. Okay, and thickness wise, you're looking at about normal thickness here, 35 millimeter. Okay. Well,
it's a man.
Figured,
box.
all right. Yeah, it's a good sized box. I mean, you got it in your hand. It's not obviously it's not pocketable. Well, it is. You can put it in your pocket. I decided to use a different potentiometer, and you see it's a Vishay one at the side here. And come on, Ahmed, did you turn the autofocus off on yours? Is that okay? And so, anyways, I said, all right, let's try to get everything to fit in here. So after reading about the board, we said we need to lower the input amperage on this chip. All right. First thing we did was find a battery that could power this, and we went with a lithium-ion polymer, so a LiPo battery, and it's a 11.1 volt. So this isn't your typical stacked batteries or anything like that, and we're gonna have a sheet with all the parts and everything for you guys tonight, so that way if somebody wants to start getting this stuff. But first things first, let's talk about the chip that we were talking about. There's the size of it. Okay, the chip compared to an OKR. Let's see if I have an OKR here. I mean, here is a wired up OKR, and there's your board. Okay, so now you see why you need a box that size. The board itself measures, I think it's just under so 65. Okay, by with the pins, because there's pins that stick out, by about 42, and your thickness is not too bad, about 10 to 12. Now, this board has multiple outputs. Okay, all these guys that you see right here are outputs. No capacitors needed on the input or the output. These are all output capacitors. Huge capacitors on each output side. I mean, this board is rugged. I mean, you can see the size of that capacitor right there. It is huge.
It's got a heat sink on it. That's awesome.
Yes, it's got an aluminum heat sink on it. Okay. So as you can see, some of the warnings that I'll give you real quick, because I don't know how we're doing on time. I can't see chat.
Buck 20, baby.
Okay. So some of the things you could see is very small pins to solder to. Okay. So make sure that when I show this, just make sure also when you have it and before you go and solder, be careful with the pins because the pins can break off easily. As you can see, as these two broke off, this board was fried. I had one of the pins break and actually short. So because it's a tight fit in here. So, and again, this was all done a few hours before a vape meet that I had. So, there we go. So that's your chip. So I'm trying to save some time here, and let's show the inside of this box. So again, build at your own risk, and this is a mess in here. Okay, or consider it a mess for me. I've seen worse, but here we go. So
the humanity.
yeah. So what you see here is
Also,
Yeah.
notice that Mast's fingernails are clean.
yeah. Fingernails are usually clean. Okay, so I'll leave that up on the screen there so you can see how I've placed everything. These connectors on the battery, I believe, we'll put a link on there. These are some serious heavy-duty connectors. Okay, as you can see, and they only go, they're keyed. They only go one way. They're the XT60 connectors. Hobby King sells them. They're great for soldering 14 gauge wire because that's what you're going to need when you're powering the sucker, okay? So here's some Tunergy, stranded 14 gauge wire. Okay, this is, you want to get the silicone so it's bendable, because on these radiuses it's the pain in the butt. So, and again, this is just, thrown together real quick for on test purposes, but there's your size connectors, and what we'll do is we'll unhook these are nice connectors too. We'll unhook the battery. Here's your battery. Okay, Tunergy Nanotech. Notice it's a 3-cell. Okay, 1300 mAh. It's got a 45 to 90 C discharge. Okay, so if you do your math, that's over 100 amps on the discharge of this battery. So we're plenty. This board has an 18 amp limit input. Okay, so that's a great thing about going with a 12 with an 11.1 volt battery is you're lowering the amperage coming in. The lower the voltage, the higher amperage. So, so there you go. There's the battery. It's good size. I get some measurements later. This is, I don't want this to take too long. We're just going over today. We're going to go over everything. Okay, important. Before you get this battery, okay, make sure that you have a LiPo charger. Okay, here's one that I reused from one of my RC helicopters. Okay, and it has a 7.4 volt input and an 11.1 volt input. Again, this mod is not going to be a mod for everyone. This was a proof of concept mod that I was building. Okay, and so it plugs into your 11.1 volt. Okay, so you need a special charger. A lot of people have these if you've done any RC stuff. This thing's like $10, $15. It's very basic. Or you could have, this one charges at 0.8 amps. I have it modified to charge just a little bit higher than that. Okay, but very simple, very cheap. It's not like you have to go and spend $1 million on a super duper cool charger that does all these cool things. I mean, you can if you want, but there's your battery. Okay, and here's the placement of the chip. I didn't take any measurements, nothing. I just basically put everything in. You have to make sure that you insulate this board somehow. I'm going to do a better job of doing this when I take it apart and we actually build it on the show. But you have a lot of open components back here that are going to go into a metal box, or if you decide to go with plastic, I don't know what size you're going to be able to get, but you have to find a way of, shielding this, okay? And what I did was I basically laid some thick 3M tape across and covered everything up. And as you can see, all the inputs are heat trunk. And you have your basic. I have an Auto P9 here. Okay, it uses a sense bin, so no problem with the amperage. It's only like 0.4 of an amp going through this thing. It's very low. And you have
Where do you put the case fan?
Yeah, it's going to be down here on the bottom. Believe it or not, hitting this thing at upwards of 300 watts and more, one of the things that I wanted to check was this aluminum heatsink, and I had a temp gun with me, so I just popped the lid off and I ran it for about 4 or 5 seconds straight, and this thing got mildly hot. A lot of the heat was coming from the 510, but honestly, these devices are meant to be ran, 24/7, not in pulses, which is what we're doing. And if you can take a hit of 300 watt plus and do a 5-6 second hit, then by all means, you should be having your face blown off, because that's pretty amazing. So, it didn't get super hot at all. So as you can see, the spacing of the battery, you're going to have a configuration like this. I'm sure there's another way. I was just, out of time, and I just wanted to get this done. So you can easily hook up. This is nice. See, these don't allow you to hook up backwards. No, I don't know, and I don't think this thing has reverse polarity protection. I haven't gone through that area of the spec sheet yet, but there you have it. I mean, here's the internals. It's nothing pretty right now. Again, this was just done as a proof of concept to show that there's got to be a limit to where you're right now, until we figure out a way of either new wicking or a new addy. And I'm working with Lance over at Steam Monkey to try to develop something that will vape at 300 plus watts. So that's something that we might be seeing here in the future. So
that's
again,
something to understand, right? It's almost impossible for any wicking that we have right now to keep up with that shit.
It is. The only thing, again, that I haven't tried, and we'll put this back together, and I'll crank this sucker up so you guys can see what it does at that high wattage. I mean, you've seen some of the previews, but I think my throat is ready for another raping.
Well, do it when you're zoomed up first. Let people see how fast that coil gets hot.
Yeah. So put everything back together here, and I'm gonna switch cameras. Actually, you want it zoomed up? Okay.
Yeah, dude, throw it on, zoom it up. What do you think of that, Damien? How do you feel about vaping at 300 watts?
I think it's fucking madness, personally. Absolutely madness.
That's what we do here. We do absolute fucking madness.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I think, like, in a country like the UK, they would probably pass a law limiting how many watts you could vape at.
Yeah.
Whoever has one of these, though, will be the king of any cloud competition.
If you like vape if you vape over 110 watts, you have to pay additional taxes.
It'll be outlawed. It'll be named a gun or something.
Payable to the big BC, the big boy clouds.
Well, you could probably melt somebody's face off with it.
Yeah, it gets pretty hot. So. And the reason I chose this potentiometer, this is an expensive potentiometer, and the reason is being able to dial. I'll show you in with the volt. I didn't even have a chance to put an onboard voltmeter on here, but I'll turn it all the way down, and we'll start out. And the camera's going to kind of make it weird, but here we start at 3. Is it upside down for you guys if I do it this way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the correct way there. Let me see if turning off the light will help here. There we go. So there we go. There we go at 6. Sorry, at 3.63, and as you can see, I can go up 0.0 of a volt.
Oh wow.
With this pot. Okay, so it's really cool. You can actually, dial it in versus, the half turn or quarter turn pot. So you could say, okay, well, I want to do 4. There you go. You're at 4. So, or you want to. This thing goes up to 6.44.
You're showing me this after I've mastered the pot on my Mass Mod Mini.
So yeah, the build that we're going to do is going to bring you to about 5 volt because this board's being overdriven at 6, but you can at least safely go to like 5.5. And again, this will be I'll show you the way that it's supposed to be wired up, and then I'll show you if you want to, blow your $30 board up in a little while. I'm not sure. I haven't had a lot of testing because vaping, upwards of 5 point something volts is pretty painful right now. So, with this, you can actually go ahead and set it exactly at what you want. So, what we'll do now is we'll set it at 5. Somebody can do the math for me. I have a zero point 0.1 ohm coil sitting at 5 volts, so that's around 200 and something.
Josh Wilson,
right?
250.
250? Okay.
250.
Josh Wilson has this.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and turn the light back on. Move this sucker up. All right, what I have in here is a because this is just on the tobe. I don't want to melt insulators on my other Addies, so the tobe's been able to handle it. This is a twisted 24 build with some cotton that I have in there right now, and let's go ahead and
More juice.
let's go ahead and give it a. All right, and mind you, I have 2 fans in my room right now, so you're not going to see a plume come right up. So you'll see it dissipate. But here's how quickly it heats up after clicking. There's the click. Okay, and I'll put the mic up close so you guys can hear this.
Got that crackle-lackle factor.
As one would expect, right, with a 0.1 coil running at 5 volts.
Correct. And I mean, there's the click, and it's just...
It's pissed off, is what the
Time to vape it?
It's pretty instant. Yeah, let's vape it. Why the hell not?
And then you need to do the worst dry hit in history.
I'll crank it up, but I'm going to try to prevent the worst dry hit in history. Let's go back to the other camera here.
Somebody in chat said not safe for throat.
Yeah.
NSFT.
Definitely. So, yeah, this is probably not going to be good because the other coil that I had that I was vaping on while I was testing was a lot better than this. So let's juice this sucker up, and we'll start here at 5 volt. And work our way up. I got water nearby so let's bring this over here. And I've been vaping it during the show, so I'm not gonna touch the pot. It's pretty
So that's what I was gonna say. Like you've got, you're talking about King of the Cloud competitions and stuff. I would bet you could probably get better clouds less
and
because
it's dry.
You actually draw on it, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I don't think a cloud competition is going to allow anything.
Oh yeah.
It's not a mech, unfortunately. But
certainly not.
Here, juice to back up.
Right, before you hit it, well, you're gonna hit it now. There's something I need to play for Mr. Project 2501 while you're doing this.
What up, Josh? So let's turn it up, and let's go to 5.5, and that takes us a little 275 to close to 300.
Gotta be 302.
302 at 5.5. All right, let's go to 5.5. We'll show it up on the screen.
55 amp.
So we'll do 5.5555. Okay.
That just picks you up another 5 watts. 308.25. 0.025.
All right, here we go.
Oh, excuse me.
And it's dry.
You set up, take the longest hit you can off of it before you just can't do it anymore.
Don't
at 5.5
blast.
No, not to kill him, man. I want to, because I don't think he's going to be able to take more than like a 1 or 1.5 second hit.
All right, here we go.
1 second.
Mind you,
Getting.
this is zero Nick, so I would not be doing this with 3 or anything higher, and it's just dry. That's I mean, I know you got the rayon wicking faster and the capacity of maybe something else, but it's just just evaporates that juice. And one thing I haven't tried yet is actual coils going into the into a basically a juice bath without any wick. So it is. And I had Vaporator try it, and I had it turned down a little bit, but he could really tell the flavors even coming up. So I can see the draw to the higher wattages, closer to around 200 to 220, 230. And of course, we had Chuff in one of the hangouts, and the first thing, I don't know if it's said in chat yet, first thing people said, oh, well, my mech kit's harder than that because, I can get that wattage. Well, no, because your battery is going to sag when you have that big of a load on it. So what you think you're getting, you're not. And, we'll be showing some videos on that. Chuff will be showing some videos on that about.
It's going to sag like Bridget Nielsen soaking wet.
So, I have to make a comment while this is going on. We've had a lot of people on this show, and for the most part, when we do tech time, we have modders interested, and that's about it. Damien just looks like he's fucking so interested in this.
I am. I'm sorry.
Here, I'm not going to inhale the 6. Right now, it's up to 6 point. We got it all the way up, so 6.4. I'm not going to inhale it, so I'm just going to blow out so you can see how fast. I mean, it is just gone. I mean, the juice.
409.6.
Oh my God, 400 watts. All right, I'll try to hit it. Let's see. Hold up. Let's see. I'm gonna die.
Were you turning it up to 6.4?
Yeah.
Are you gonna try to inhale at 6.4?
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Do it and then play recorder.
Oh God. Oh God. Here we go.
What's the wattage on 6.4, Brian?
Whoa, I'm master.
409.6.
On 6.4?
Jackass.
Ooh.
That's enough, Mass. Stop it.
Yeah.
No more of that.
Did you say no more or like one more?
No more.
Hell no! I said no more. Are you crazy?
But I do have to say, Damien's really fucking. I mean, this is a really cool tech time, but Damien's just got this like look of pure excitement on his face.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll build one and send it to him to blow his head off.
Yeah,
right. Customs will stop it and be like WMD.
I'll stick some 18 milligram nick in there.
So what milligram do you vape?
18.
Jesus. All you fucking UK people and your 18 milligram juice, I don't know how you do it.
I started on 24 and went down to 18 and just stayed there.
I started on I think 24 and I'm down to about 3.
Yeah.
And I know some of the questions that came up too that I posted on the Reddit post. Okay, some people are asking why would you want a box like that, blah blah blah. Okay, look, it's got to be in this big fucking box. Okay, for right now until we can find something else. This isn't a mod that I've made to mass produce or something like that. This is a lot of power.
Right?
Exactly. And it was proof of concept to have something mobile, okay, that could push 300 watts or more. That you could throw your Addy on. You want to and at the meet I said, hey, you want to try putting your Addy on this? Some people went and re-wicked.
You want to try putting your Addy on this? Pussy? Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Well, it was great, and the guy, one of the guys had a Beast Box mod, and his one of his friends comes over and she's saying hi, and she's like, she sees this thing and she's like, holy crap, what is that? Well, one of the guys at the table called it the peanut butter and jelly because it's about the size of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The 2 pieces of bread put together, square.
With without crust.
Duff makes a good point. You need to send that out to him and have it stack up in a straight shootout against a mech.
Absolutely.
Both with 0.1 ohm.
And she goes and finds out what it is, and she goes and gets him, and she's like, he had just gotten his 200 watt box, and he came to ask me a question about it, and it was a fair question, and this is something that people need to know. With these chips, and I know we're running long, but real quick, with these chips that, not this one, and it's not so much a problem with your batteries, okay? With all these DC to DC converters, when you look at the spec sheets, there is a required voltage input for your voltage output. Meaning, if you want, let's say, the board that outputs 200 watts, okay? If you want your 200 watts, if you want to hit that max 40 amps, and you're using two 26650s or two 18650s, your voltage input, okay, on most of these boards, specifically on that board, needs to be either 8.2 or 8.4 for you to be able to achieve that max output, okay? Guess what? Just like in a mech, as soon as you hit that, those batteries are going to sag below 8.4. Okay, so now your chip is going to be outputting less. And he had a great question and a valid question. He says, man, I put, I'm checking the voltage reader on the side, and I'm putting, my voltmeter on the top, and I drive it all the way to 5 volts. And, when I put an addy on it, as soon as I click it, it's down to 4.2, almost a whole volt drop. And that's what I was explaining, and everybody needs to know that when you're looking at these chips, when you might be building something, it's not the efficiency rating. The efficiency rating is something completely different. You're going to have voltage drop on your batteries as soon as you use it, and then that's going to drop, so the input is going to drop. Your output is not going to be able to be that high, and that's all safety. That's all the chip can do. That's why, if your chip can go up to 12, 14 volt input, you should do it when you have the chance to. Like, for example, with the battery, it's an 11.1 volt battery. It starts out at like 11 point, almost 12 volt, and you can keep the board at a good enough voltage for it to output. So that's when you're getting realistic, voltage and wattage out. So. But that, we'll leave the rest of that for another tech time. But just be aware of that. It's not the maker's fault. It's not the fault of your batteries. That's just a limitation that the chip will have.
So I think what we need to do is we need to get one of these together with some Avail tuna juice, and we need to send it over for a waffle.
Come down.
He can vape Yeehee tuna and cabbage at 400 watts.
Yeah, better make that little Nick.
So if we sent you one, would you review it if we sent you over one as a content?
Yeah, I mean, it's some crazy ass shit. That is absolutely crazy. Really interesting, by the way. I really enjoyed that. That was stunning. But yeah, I'd give it my best. That's Christ, 400 watts.
Just prepare your anus right now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think we got to get one over to Chuff to test, and I think we got to get one to you to review.
Yeah, you're paying for all the parts. Cool.
What's the price range on that?
Well, I mean, there's no, parts together. I'd say, you're starting off the bat with a 30-something dollar chip, and you're adding your box. The potentiometer that I use is expensive. It's like a $15, $20 pot, so it starts adding up. It's not your typical OKR build. So
is it still under $100 for everything?
I believe so. Yeah.
Only $90 to fuck your throat.
Yeah. So under $100 for everything together.
That's mental.
Dude, that's kind of the nice thing about what we have over here is the OKR box modders. I mean, this thing is between like $45 and $60 to put together. Two 18650s, OKR T10 regulated 50-watt chip.
It's got that crackle-ackle thing.
6-volt.
Crackle.
Yeah.
Or
now, I will say, yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I will say that the build time on this is not too bad, because you're not, it's not like the OKR where you're putting in capacitors on there, but there is a lot of pins on this board. I think there's a total of 26 pins on the board. So there's a lot of soldering, and there's a lot of them that you're going to be soldering 2 of them together on the board itself and stuff like that. So you have a lot more build time to do. So keeping that in mind when you see a mod like this, out in the world. So, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, this is something that I was telling Rian. Let's see how long before we start seeing these, out there. I don't think that it's the one good thing this thing has going for it is, you could have it turned down. You have plenty of power. That's only a 1300 mAh battery, but at that voltage, it's gonna be, a good, it's not gonna be no 600 mAh, but your 600 mAh device ain't gonna hit 300 watts plus. So again,
I'm sure we could send him one to test and then send back, right?
Sure.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, 18 milligram. Get the fuck out.
As long as you send it, Sean, or you or Anxie send it, because I don't need customs at my house.
I don't care, dude. I'll send it over. You can test it out, send it back to you.
Yeah, Matt, you're their favorite piece of contraband at the moment.
But I do forget, man. You vape 18. I do forget that you probably vape 1 ohm or above, don't you?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. I'm not too heavily into dripping. I do it a little bit, you know what I mean, especially to test juices out and things like that. But I'm quite a lazy vapor. I like a tank, and yeah, around 1 ohm, between 1 and sort of 1.2 is sort of what I vape at as well. So it ain't nothing like you motherfuckers vape at. You know?
That's a huge power decrease. Oh, jeez.
40 to 50 watts, I feel like is a good roof for me. Like I've been at the same power for several months now. I'll go above and beyond to see how some juices taste at higher powers, like 60, 70 watts, but I'm usually most comfortable in the 40 to 50 range, which is still crazy to some people.
And we did have a good question for you before we leave, too. Do you notice a lot of vapors in the UK? Is the market seeing a drop in cigarette smokers compared to e-cig users?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, actually, because I noticed it yesterday of all times. I went out for a family meal. There was a load of us together, and obviously it's a big restaurant, loads of people eating. And when I went outside for a vape, and as I kept going outside for a vape, I noticed that there were a lot more vapors. It was a busy place, Sunday dinner, all the families are out, and there was actually a hell of a lot more people vaping outside than there was smoking. You know, smokers, and goddamn, did you know they was there the moment you walked out fucking side. But there was loads of vapors. Obviously, we're still talking egos and Stardust or CE4s and what have you. But yeah, there's definitely a massive increase. And I mean, you see them when you go shopping. You know what I mean? You're out and about and you see them all with their egos and their Stardusts. So I've seen a mass, especially within the last 6 to 8 months. It's gone mental. You know, it's gone wild. They're everywhere, and which is a great thing. You know.
Yeah. Agreed. And then,
definitely seen a big increase
on our show. As a reviewer, we end the show with you giving us a story that's full of feels.
Feels.
Make us feel something. Make us feel good. Sad. Make us go something.
All right, hold up. So if he's gonna do that, we'll get some background. There we go.
Yo, play that shit from Celine Dion. You know, My Heart Will Go On.
Always make you feel.
Jesus Christ, what sort of question is that?
No, you just dropped the bomb on him.
I don't know. To make you feel.
Give us a story that moves us, man. A touching email, something. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Well, my 1-year-old last week pulled his nappy off, and I caught him eating a piece of his own shit. Does that make you feel?
You know, turn my stomach, that counts.
It's true. Like he had a Snickers bar. I got there just in time.
All right, I do say we sign off with a stay shay.
So are we gonna sign off with your customary line here?
Oh, you want to hear it? Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you very much for joining us on Plumes, and
for watching.
on the next one. Stay safe.